My prime of youth is but a frost of cares. My feast of joy is but a dish of pain. My crop of corn is but a field of tares. And all my good is but vain hope of gain. My life is fled, and yet I saw no sun. And now I live, and now my life is done. The spring is past, and yet it hath not sprung. The fruit is dead, and yet the leaves be green. My youth is gone, and yet I am but young. I saw the world, and yet I was not seen. My thread is cut, and yet it is not spun. And now I live, and now my life is done. I sought my death, and found it in my womb. I looked for life, and saw it was a shade. I trod the earth, and knew it was my tomb. And now I die, and now I am but made. The glass is full, and now my glass is run. And now I live, and now my life is done.
At the ferocious phenomenon of 5 o'clock, I find myself gently decomposing in the mountains of New York. Between its subtle financial teeth deliriously sprouting from complacent gums, a morsel prettily wanders, buoyed by the murderous saliva of industry. The morsel is I. Vast cheeks enclosing, a gigantic uvula with imperceptible gesticulations threatens the tubular downward blackness, occasionally from which, detaching itself, bumps clumsily into the throat. A meticulous vulgarity, some fastidious normal explosion, a square murmur, a winsome flatulence. In the soft midst of the tongue sits the Woolworth building, a serene pastel-shaped insipid kinesis of frail sweet lozenge. A rug-like sentience whose papilla expertly trim the docile perpendicular taste of this squirming cube of undiminished silence. Supports while devouring the firm tumult of exquisitely insecure sharp algebraic music. For the first time in soaring from this vast nonchalant inward walk volume, the flat, minute gallop of careful hugeness, I am conjugated by the sensual mysticism of entire vertical being. I am skillfully construed by a delicately experimenting colossus whose irrefutable spiral antics involve me with the soothings of plastic hypnotism. I am accurately tossed by this gorgeous rush of upward lips. Cleverly. Perching on the sudden extremity of one end's tooth, myself surveys safely the complete, important, profane, frantic, inconsequential gastronomic mystery of mysteries. Life. Far below myself, the lunging leer of horizontal large, distinct ecstasy wags and rages, laughter, jostle, grins, nudge, smiles, push, deep into the edgeless colonial gladness hammers incessant, putrid spikes of madness. At myself's height, these various missing ferocities are superseded by the soul-prostituted ferocity of silence. It is still 5 o'clock. I stare only always into the tremendous canyon. The tremendous canyon always only exhales a climbing, dark, exact, raw, inhuman noise of digestible millions, whose rich slovenly obscene procession always flows through the thin, amorous, enormous illumined lips of the evening, and it is by the clock in the oblong air from which a singular rhythm of common sunset hangs. Snow speaks slowly.
There was once a prince who wished to marry a princess, but she must be a real princess. So he traveled all over the world to find her. There was always something wrong. There were plenty of princesses, but he could never be quite sure whether they were real or not. There was always something that was not quite right. And so he came home again, feeling very sad, for he did so want a real princess. One evening there was a terrible storm. It lightened and thundered, and the rain came down in torrents. It was dreadful. And in the midst of the storm there came a knock at the gate, and the old king himself went down to open it. And there outside stood a princess. But what a state she was in from the rain and the storm. The water was running out of her hair onto her clothes, and in at the toes of her shoes and out of the heels. But she said she was a real princess. We shall soon find out about that, thought the old queen. But she said never a word. And she went into the bedroom and took off all the bedclothes and put a pea on the bedstead. Then she took 20 mattresses and laid them on top of the pea. And then she took 20 eider-down comforters and put them on top of the mattresses. And on top of all this, the princess was asleep. And in the morning they came and asked her how she had slept. "Oh, wretchedly," said the princess. "I scarcely closed my eyes the whole night through. Heaven knows what could have been in my bed. I have lain on something so hard, my whole body is black and blue. It was quite dreadful." So now they could see that she was a real princess, for she had felt at peace through 20 mattresses and 20 eider-down comforters, and only a real princess could be so sensitive. And so the prince married her, for now he knew that he had found a real princess, and the pea was sent to an art museum where it can still be seen if no one has taken it away. Now mark you, that is a real story.
much to recommend London, particularly Hyde Park, on a sunny afternoon in spring when the grass is newly green and there's a feeling of lightness in the air. Subconsciously affected by this, the most prosaic citizens frequently give way to a saying, abandon. Fathers of families take off their coats and waistcoats and lie on their backs, gazing at the sky. Their wives sit near them, keeping an eye on children, and allowing the sun to burn semicircular areas of pink onto their necks. Younger people lie unshapely close, sometimes asleep, sometimes lazily awake, murmuring laconically to each other, sucking sweets, smoking cigarettes, relaxed and content, soothed into a sensual lassitude by the promise of the air and the gentle weather. As a general rule, decorum is observed, but occasionally passion flames suddenly between them, and they lie arms and legs entwined, oblivious of passers-by, lost in brief ecstasy. Police constables regulate these transient excesses with admirable discretion. Nothing's allowed to get out of control. The decencies are upheld. The birds sing, the cries of children, the barking of dogs, the far-off strains of a military band, together with the incessant rumble of the traffic in the distance, provide a muted orchestration to this unremarkable, and yet at the same time unique, London Pastoral.
Goodbye, my fancy. Farewell, dear love. I'm going away. I know not where, or to what fortune, or whether I may ever see you again. So goodbye, my fancy. Now for my house. Let me look back. The slower, fainter ticking of the clock is coming. Exit. Nightfall. Soon the hustle of the time. Long have we joyed, caressed together. Delightful, now separation. Goodbye, my friends. Yet let me not be too hasty. Long indeed have we been misled, filtered, become really blended into one. Then if we die together. Yes, we'll remain one. If we go anywhere, we'll go together to what happens. Maybe we'll be better off and wiser and learn something. Maybe it is yourself now really ushering me to the true songs. Who knows? Maybe it is you, the mortal now, really up to you.
I say, no world can hold a. You shall see thee not because and why, but who stood within esteem beginning and began to sing. All here his hands, machine no good. Too quick I know this suit. You pay a store too much, yes. What? Too much cheap. Me, I work, I know. I say I have not any, never no vacation. Here is hands, is work, since I am born is good. But there, this cheap, this suit, too quick, no suit. There, everything, nothing. I say the world not fit you. He is not. I say the world, yes, any world, is much too not quite big enough to hold one tiny this with times more than most, how immeasurable anguish pregnant, one fearless, one good, yes, completely kind, mind, heart, one true, one generous, child, man, God, one eager soul doll, one unsellable, not viable, alive, one, I say, human being, one Goldberger.
Once there was a widow who had 2 daughters. The elder was so like her in face and humor that whoever looked upon the daughter saw the mother. And they were both so proud and disagreeable there was no living with them. The younger daughter was exactly like her father in mildness and good manners, and besides was one of the most beautiful girls ever seen. But as people naturally like those who resemble them, the mother doted on her elder daughter and hated the younger, and made her eat in the kitchen and work like a slave. And among other things, the poor girl had to go twice a day to draw water from a fountain, a good 2 miles from the house, and bring it back in a large pitcher. But one day, when she was at the fountain, a poor countrywoman came up to her and asked her for a drink. "Oh, aye, with all my heart, goody," said the girl. And rinsing out the pitcher, she drew water from the clearest part of the fountain and gave it to her, holding the pitcher so she could drink more comfortably. And when she had drunk, the old woman said to her, "You are so beautiful, so kind, and so well-mannered, that I really must make you a gift." For she was a fairy who had taken the form of a countrywoman to see how far the good manners of this pretty child would go. "I give you this gift," the fairy went on. "For every word you speak, there will fall from your lips either a flower or a jewel." When the girl came home, her mother scolded her for staying so long at the fountain. "I beg your pardon, Mamma," said the poor girl, "for being so late." And as she spoke, there fell from her lips 3 roses, 3 pearls, and 3 magnificent diamonds. "And what is this?" cried the mother in astonishment. "Are these diamonds and pearls coming out of your mouth? How does this happen, daughter?" It was the first time she'd ever called her daughter. The poor girl told her all that had happened, dropping a vast number of diamonds as she did so. "Oh, really," said the mother, "I must send my other daughter. Here, Fanny, see what comes out of your sister's mouth when she speaks. Wouldn't you be happy with such a gift? All you have to do is go to the fountain and give a poor old countrywoman a drink." "I can see myself going all that way to the fountain," the girl replied. "I am telling you to go," said her mother. "I am telling you to go at once." And so she went, still grumbling, and taking with her the best silver tankard in the house, lest anyone think her a common servant girl. She had hardly reached the fountain when she saw coming toward her a splendidly dressed lady who asked her for a drink. It was the same fairy who had appeared to her sister, but who now assumed the air and dress of a princess to see how far this girl's bad manners would go. "Do you think I came here to give you a drink?" said the saucy stuck-up thing. "Naturally, I brought this silver tankard especially for your ladyship. Oh, yes, indeed. If you, madame, want a drink, you can lap it out of the fountain." "You are not very polite," said the fairy, without losing her temper. "And since you are so disagreeable and disobliging, I will give you this gift. For every word you speak, there will come from your lips a snake or a toad." The mother, waiting anxiously for her return, cried out, "Well, daughter?" "What do you mean, well?" answered the rude daughter, and out of her mouth came 2 snakes and 2 toads. "Good heavens," said the mother, "what is this? It is all the fault of that sister of yours. I'll show her." And she went after her with a stick. The poor girl ran into the forest, and a king's son on his way home from the hunt found her, and seeing her beauty, asked her what she was doing, all alone in the wood, and why she was crying so bitterly. "Alas, sir," said she, "my mother has driven me out of the house." And 5 or 6 pearls and as many diamonds dropped from her lips. The king's son was astonished, and he begged her to tell him why this should be, and she thereupon told him the whole story. Now the king's son had fallen in love with her before he had seen the diamonds, and he reflected that since such a gift was worth more than any dowry any other girl could bring him, he took her back with him to his father's palace and married her. As for the other sister, she made herself so disagreeable that her mother, faced with all the snakes and toads, drove her too out of the house. And since the wretched girl would not be likely to find anyone to take her in, snakes and toads and all, or a king's son who would accept a dowry of snakes and toads, I really do not know what became of her. Do you?
When you, my son and my comrade, dropped at my side that day, one look I but gave, which your dear eyes returned with a look I shall never forget. One touch of your hand to mine, O boy, reached up as you lay on the ground. Then onward I sped in the battle, the even contested battle, till late in the night relieved, to the place at last again I made my way. Found you in death so cold, dear comrade. Found your body, son of responding kisses, never again on earth responding. Bared your face in the starlight. Curious the scene. Cool blew the moderate night wind. Long there and then in vigil I stood, dimly around me the battlefield spreading. Vigil wondrous, and vigil sweet, there in the fragrant, silent night. But not a tear fell, not even a long-drawn sigh. Long, long I gazed. Then on the earth, partially reclining, sat by your side, leaning my chin in my hands, passing sweet hours, immortal and mystic hours with you, dearest comrade. Not a tear, not a word. Vigil of silence, love, and death. Vigil for you, my son and my soldier, as onward silently stars aloft, eastward new ones upward stole. Vigil final for you, brave boy. I could not save you. Swift was your death. I faithfully loved you and cared for you living. I think we shall surely meet again. Till at latest lingering of the night, just as the dawn appeared, my comrade I wrapped in his blanket, enveloped well his form, folded the blanket well, tucking it carefully overhead and carefully under feet. And there and then, and bathed by the rising sun, my son in his grave, in his rude dung grave I deposited, ending my vigil strange with that. Vigil of night and battlefield dim. Vigil for boy of responding kisses, never again on earth responding. Vigil for comrade swiftly slain. Vigil I never forget. How as day brightened, I rose from the chill ground and folded my soldier well in his blanket and buried him where he fell.